Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive into something that really matters, stopping bullying before it starts. And not just stopping it, but really digging into how we can use stories, real stories, to make a difference. This is about giving youth workers, the folks on the front lines, the tools they need to change the game. We're talking about a whole project, a real plan, to equip these amazing humans with the knowledge, the resources, and even the tech to combat bullying using the power of storytelling. Because let's be real, stories stick with us. They help us understand each other, connect on a deeper level, and find our own voices. And that's exactly what we need if we're serious about tackling bullying. So, buckle up, because we're about to break down how we can empower youth workers to become the ultimate storytellers, the kind of people who can change the narrative for an entire generation. Before we can even think about fighting bullying, we need to understand it, right? It's like you wouldn't show up to a history exam without cracking open a textbook. This chapter is all about giving youth workers and their organizations the information they need, the hard facts, the latest research, and the most effective strategies for dealing with bullying head on. We're talking about those concrete tools that make a difference, and that includes understanding the why. Why does bullying happen? What are the root causes? What are the different forms it takes? We'll be exploring all of that and more in this chapter, but it doesn't stop there. Remember how this whole thing is about stories? Well, we need to become master storytellers, right? So think of this chapter as Storytelling 101. We're going to delve into those techniques that really grab someone's attention, that make them lean in and listen, and most importantly, that help them connect with what's being said. We're talking workshops, training materials, the whole 9 yards, all geared towards giving youth workers the skills they need to communicate effectively with young people. Because let's face it, in a world of constant noise, knowing how to tell a story that truly resonates is a superpower. And that's exactly what we want to equip our youth workers with.
All right, let's be real for a second. Sometimes statistics and research papers can feel a bit, impersonal, right? Like, we know bullying is bad, but it's the stories, the human experiences, that really hit home. This chapter is all about harnessing the power of those real-life narratives, those lived experiences of bullying. And we're not just talking about the tough stuff, but also about resilience, about how people coped, about the interventions that actually worked. Imagine a library, but instead of dusty old books, it's filled with stories of struggle, of hope, of overcoming. That's what we want to create, a repository of narratives that youth workers can tap into. Because when a young person who's being bullied hears a story from someone who's been there, who's walked that path, it can be incredibly validating. It tells them, hey, you're not alone in this. And on the flip side, these stories can also inspire action. They can show young people how to be upstanders, how to speak out against bullying, and how to seek help when they need it. These stories, they're not just anecdotes, they're tools for empowerment. They're proof that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope for a brighter future.
Okay, so we've got the knowledge, we've got the stories, but now what? Here's the thing. Every situation, every group of young people is different. What works in one school, in one community, might not fly somewhere else. This chapter is all about flexibility, about giving youth workers the tools to adapt their approach based on who they're working with. Think of it like this. Storytelling is an art, right? And just like any good artist, you need different brushes, different colors, different techniques to create a masterpiece. We're going to be providing guidelines, frameworks even, on how to use narratives effectively in various situations. How do you facilitate a group discussion where everyone feels safe to share their experiences? How do you use stories to build empathy and understanding between young people who might have very different backgrounds? These are just some of the questions we'll be tackling in this chapter. It's about recognizing that there's no one-size-fits-all solution and empowering youth workers to be responsive, to be creative, and to tailor their interventions using the power of storytelling.
Let's be real, we live in a digital world, right? Kids are practically born with smartphones in their hands these days. And while technology can sometimes feel like part of the problem, it can also be a powerful tool for good. This chapter is all about harnessing the power of the internet, of apps, of websites, to make our anti-bullying efforts even more effective. Remember that repository of stories we talked about? Imagine that online, accessible to anyone, anywhere, at any time. We're talking about building a digital platform, maybe even a Padlet, where youth workers can share resources, success stories, and connect with each other. Because let's face it, fighting bullying can feel isolating, right? But when we connect online, when we share our experiences and support each other, it reminds us that we're not alone in this fight. And hey, while we're at it, why not get creative? Interactive storytelling tools, apps that help young people share their experiences through writing, art, or even music. The possibilities are endless.
So, we've got the knowledge, the stories, the tailored approaches, and the tech, but how do we know if any of this is actually working? That's where monitoring and evaluation come in. This chapter is all about measuring our impact, about figuring out if our efforts are actually making a dent in bullying rates and improving the well-being of young people. Because here's the thing, we don't just want to talk the talk, we want to walk the walk. We need to be able to track our progress, see what's working, what's not, and adjust our strategies accordingly. Think of it like a science experiment. We have our hypothesis that empowering youth workers through storytelling will reduce bullying, and now we need to gather data to see if we're right. We'll be providing youth workers with the tools and guidelines they need to measure the effectiveness of their anti-bullying efforts. Because when we can demonstrate that what we're doing is making a real difference, it gives us even more fuel to keep fighting, to keep pushing for change.
Fighting bullying isn't a one-person job, right? It takes a village, a community, a whole network of dedicated individuals working together. This chapter is all about fostering that sense of community among youth workers, creating a space where they can connect, share their experiences, and support each other. Imagine a room full of passionate individuals, all united by a common goal, to create a safer and more inclusive world for young people. That's the kind of energy we want to cultivate. We'll be exploring different ways to facilitate networking opportunities, knowledge-sharing events, and collaborative projects. Because two heads are always better than one, right? And when youth workers feel supported, when they know they have people they can turn to for advice, for resources, for a listening ear, they're better equipped to handle the challenges that come with the job. It's about creating a network of support, a safety net, so that no one feels alone in this fight.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, but here's the thing. We don't want this to be a one-time thing, right? We want to create a lasting impact, a legacy that continues to benefit youth workers and young people for years to come. This chapter is all about sustainability, about ensuring that the knowledge, the resources, the strategies we've developed have a life beyond the lifespan of this project. Think of it like planting seeds. We're not just handing out tools. We're cultivating a mindset, an approach to bullying prevention that can be integrated into existing youth programs. We want anti-bullying and storytelling to become part of the DNA of youth work, something that's just second nature. And that means providing materials that are adaptable, that can be used and reused in different contexts. It's about empowering future generations of youth workers to carry the torch, to continue the fight for a more just and compassionate world. Because the fight against bullying doesn't end with us, it's an ongoing process, and we need to equip future generations with the tools to continue the good fight.
We've talked a lot about empowering youth workers, but they can't do it alone, right? Creating real change requires a collective effort, and that means reaching out beyond the walls of youth organizations. This final chapter is all about advocacy, about giving youth workers the skills and the confidence to become agents of change in their communities. We want them to feel empowered to speak out against bullying, to educate parents, educators, and community members about the importance of prevention and intervention. Because here's the thing, silence only benefits the bully. The more we talk about this issue, the more we raise awareness, the harder it becomes for bullying to thrive in the shadows. We'll be providing youth workers with the tools and resources they need to organize outreach events, to launch campaigns, to become vocal advocates for change. It's about amplifying their voices, giving them a platform to share their knowledge and experiences, and inspiring others to join the movement.
And that's it, everyone. We've reached the end of our journey, but the fight against bullying continues. Remember, this isn't just about statistics or programs. It's about real people, real stories, real lives that are impacted by this issue every single day. But here's the good news. We have the power to change the narrative by equipping youth workers with the knowledge, the resources, and the skills they need. We can create a ripple effect that extends far beyond the walls of any single organization. We can build a future where every young person feels safe, respected, and empowered to be themselves. So, thank you for joining us on this journey. Now go out there, share what you've learned, and let's work together to write a new story, a story where bullying no longer has a place.